Hello, I built a French Cleat grinder holder that holds my grinder and all my grinder accessories right here on my French Cleat wall, and I made it out of scraps. Because in today's world, everyone needs an easily accessible grinder holder in case of emergencies. Next up in our French Cleat tool hanger series is this, the Ryobi angle grinder. The Ryobi cordless angle grinder is a good angle grinder for medium-sized jobs, which is pretty much what I do out here, so it's perfectly adequate for what I do. I want to hang it on my French Cleat tool wall to get it out of the way because it's cluttering everything. So I'm going to mount it like this. As you know, in my shop I like to build things that hold the tools in ways that I could just grab and go, and the angle grinder is no exception. I'll have it here and I'll be able to just pull it off the wall when I need it. Now this angle grinder has a handle that comes with it. The handle can be attached to the back, the left or the right hand side, so you hold it as you grind. I tend to use it over here on this side because I'm right-handed, so I use it like this. So when I hang it on the wall, it's going to have this arm sticking out to the left. But that's okay because the angle grinder also comes with a whole bunch of cutting heads. So I'm going to use this overhang of the controlling arm to put hangers for all these cutting heads. And this is going to be our French Cleat hanger. Everything right where you need it, easily accessible, but also all stored in one place. It'll be a simple French Cleat hanger to put together, but it'll give us a readily accessible angle grinder for whenever we need it. So what I'm going to do is use a piece of scrap, in this case 3/8 inch piece of plywood that I had laying around, and I'm going to cut 10 inches by 12 inches to make the backer board that we're going to build everything on. One of the things to think about when making a tool holder for your cordless tools is, what are you going to do with the battery? I usually don't store my larger tools with batteries in them, like these two nail guns up here don't have batteries in them, because I have a battery charging system right here, and it has LEDs, and that's more important than, you know, putting the battery with the tool. There, doesn't that look better? This is what you'll end up with, a 10 by 12 inch backer board, minus 3/8 inch plywood, because that's what I happen to have on the rack, but thicker or less thick is fine. I like this because it's solid. Then you're going to have 2 of these strips of wood that I cut off at a 45-degree angle. They're 1.5 inches tall and just regular wood, otherwise 3/4 inch and so forth, and they're 3 inches long. These are going to form a trough that the grinder is going to sit in. And to keep the grinder from coming out, I just got a couple of strips of wood. Mine are 1/4 inch, and just going to glue them here and here to make a support that the saw can then just go into, the cutter can go in. Then for the grinder pieces on the storage, I just put these, just a couple 1/2 inch dowels that'll hold all the grinder wheels. And then we have the French Cleat hanger that will go on the back. Now, this is hanging this way because I'm right-handed. But if you're left-handed, all you have to do is move everything over, and you can do the same thing. But I'm right-handed, so I want to put it this way. You can glue it together or screw it together. Either way, attach the strips to the wood. The same thing with the dowels. I use glue because it's easy. Of course, if you're smart, you'll take a drill and you'll drill a hole underneath the 2 dowels so that you could put a screw in later, because the dowels can support the heavy cutting wheels. I wasn't smart, so I pulled my dowels off and I drilled my holes. Now I'm going to glue them back on. Okay, you see the holes here? This is where we're going to glue. I'm just gluing each one of the 2 dowels over each of the 2 holes. We'll worry about screws later. Right now, I just want to get them place dried. And while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I'm cutting the French Cleat that's going to go across the back. Use your own French Cleat design here. This one works for me, and I glued it down right here. The final step is to flip the structure over, find the 2 holes we drilled, and using the now dry glue to hold the dowels in place, drill in 2 pilot holes so that the screws will not split those dowels. We'd hate to have split dowels. And then put the screws in. These screws will give it the strength it needs to hold the metal cutting heads. It won't come off the wall very easily this way. So the surface structure is done. I've got the 2 hanging pieces here, and I've got the 2 posts, and the posts have the screws in the back, as I failed to plan for originally, but you should do. That makes them very stiff, very strong. They should have no trouble at all supporting grinder wheels. And the extra screws in the back on the supports just give it extra strength where it wasn't necessary, but I was already putting screws in the back, so I went ahead and did it. This hole in the back, I don't know what it came from. This is scrap, so you don't have to do this one. This looks like a simple build, and it is. It's just a couple of scraps. But look what it gives me. It gives me one place for all of my grinder accessories and the grinder right here where I need it. And if I need to change anything about the shop, I can just pick up this tool holder and move it anywhere I want, and everything with the grinder travels with it. Here, it lives up here. It really appeals to my lazy nature to have everything in one place so that I can use it and not think about it, instead focus on the job at hand. So this may seem like a small, simple project, might not be worth your time, but I assure you that it is. Do this sort of thing. It'll declutter your shop, it'll make your tools more available, and it just is fun to have your stuff up on the wall like that where you can immediately see it. So one more French Cleat tool holder. We'll do one of these every month until we fill the shop, and then I don't know, I'll do more French Cleat stuff because there's always more to do. Thanks to our patrons. You make it possible for us to have cool stuff like this. We really appreciate it. If you like this sort of thing, like and subscribe, join us. We build stuff with these tools, and we want to show you all about it. Otherwise, see you next time.